What's up, my hunting brothers and sisters? Today we are resurrecting an old dinosaur from the past, my 2009 Elite Z28. Turkey seasons are coming up. This was my go-to turkey bow for years. And I'm just kind of curious, do you really have to have a brand new flagship bow to hunt anymore and be effective? Let's take a look at this bad boy. Let's check it out. Some fresh updates on it. All right, so that was a bit over dramatic on the opener there, but hey, I thought I'd introduce this bow and the point of this video. So we're going to take an old bow and we are going to bring it back to life, because I think right now I got a couple reasons. One is so many people think that they just have to have the latest and greatest flagship bow, and I'm one of those people. I love them. I love them. Right here on the wall is my Elite Ethos. That's a 2024 Elite Ethos. Love that bow. It's my deer hunting bow. But we are bringing this old girl back to life right here. So this old girl here is a 2009 Elite Z28. I bought this bow in 2010 or 11, somewhere in that neighborhood. Slightly used. It was fully decked out. I stripped it all down, you know, and at the time put on a pair of 60X strings and cables. These are still the ones I put on years ago. So I am killed. This for years has been my turkey hunting bow. Okay, that's the only purpose it's ever had. I set it up to shoot Magnus bullheads, and I have killed in excess of 40 turkeys with this bow over the years. I retired this bow a couple of years ago when I had a brand deal with Athens Archery. Since then they've gone under, and I got rid of all my Athens bows, and I am bringing this girl back to life because it's a damn great bow and it's always been my good luck charm. So we're going to bring her out. I'm going to update some parts. I got a new set of cables and strings we're going to put on it, and I'm going to show you that you don't have to buy a flagship bow to have a great shooting bow. Now, I got on eBay just the other day, and I found a Z28 on eBay, and it was like 300 or 350 bucks. I looked up like Elite Answers, Elite Hunters, and I was finding bows from $300 to $400. Substitute whatever brand you want in there. Probably the Matthews Hoyt. You're going to probably pay a little more for the name, but you can look at older bear bows, Elite bows, just introduce put in whatever name you want. You can find these bows and they're still good. They are great bows all these years later. So let's just take a look at this bow real quick. So again, this is a 2009 Elite Z28. It's got the draw specific cams on it, so you cannot adjust them. These are 29-inch. It's got 60-pound limbs on it. It's been a heck of a bow. We're going to update some. Not only are we going to change out the strings with a set of these from Unbound Bowstrings, Nick Dawa. He is a guy that I've known for a while. He set me up with a set of strings, so we're going to change those out. This is an original This is an original first generation Sword Twilight Hunter sight. We're going to take that off, archive that bad boy. This is a limb saver S-coil stabilizer that's been on there for years. We're going to get rid of that. That's my original prototype of my Magnus bipod, which that is going to stay on. And then we are going to, that is a whisker biscuit that is going to go. And I've got some parts over here we're going to put on an HHA sight. We're going to put on a vapor trail rest and a Stokerized stabilizer. And again, the new set of strings over here. That's my plan in this video. So let's get this thing built and get it tuned up and start shooting it. All right, so one of the first things you want to do when you're going to rebuild an old bow is you need to go to the manufacturer's website and download all the spec sheets and data sheets on that bow. Okay, it's going to tell you your string length, your cable length. It's going to tell you all the basic setups of the bow, such as brace height, axle to axle, and all that information. Okay, so I went to the Elite's website, and I actually did this years ago. I've had just kept this, but you can see 2009 Elite Z28. It's got the ATA as 32 1/4, brace height 7 3/4. Very forgiving bow. String length, cable length, and they'll tell you basically the cam settings and the rough IBO speeds. Well, not IBO, the 350 grain arrow speeds for different draw lengths. So you can see at 60 pounds, or no, I'm sorry, this would be at 70 pounds at 29 inches. This bow's rated somewhere in the 306 to 316 range. Not a speed demon, but I don't care about it because it's my turkey hunting bow. And honestly, even if you're just looking to repurpose an old bow for deer hunting, those speeds are kill. They've been killing for years. So that's the first thing you got to do. All right, so one of the things I recommend you do is when you're going to tear apart a bow, if you don't do this every day, and I don't, take pictures of your cams, how things are connected, which cable crosses, say, to the inside of the other cable. Take pictures of stuff. That way, when you go back to assemble things, you make sure you get things in the right order. All right, so I got both the cams out of it. To make sure, like if there's spacers on those cams, you want to mark where they go, which one goes to which side. I know that the thicker ones go on my side out when the top of the bow is my left. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this. I'm going to relax these limbs completely. I'm going to pull it out of the press. It's going to go ways. I've not had this thing apart. It's the last time I put strings on it. So there we go. We got the bow completely torn down. Reason I pulled it out is there's just so much dirt and crud everywhere on this thing that I'm going to just kind of go through this thing and scrub it down real good, let everything dry real well before I put it back together. So I'm going to scrub this thing down and then we'll get this thing put back together and put the new threads on it. All right, so I let everything dry real well and gonna get it all put together. And I'm just gonna put it back in the press and lightly press the limbs just to hold it so that I got it fairly secure to put the cams back in. We really don't need to press it. We could do this on the bench, but it's kind of a nice set of extra hands. So Anyway, that's my plan. All right, so it's back assembled, and what I've done is now I've compressed it in the press. Now, this is a 32¼ inch axle to axle bow, so when we go to put the strings on after we've torn it apart like this, we need to take it in. So I've taken it down to about 31 7/8 or so, just shy of 32. So it's more than compressed enough to get the strings and cables on. Now, again, unbound bowstrings. Nick Dawa, check him out. I'll put a link to his Facebook page and his website down below. Anytime you're installing new strings, you want to be careful. When they make these, they're making them to length as they are. They typically take a paper clip, they clip the ends together. You don't want to untwist and you don't want to twist. Okay, they're made to the specific lengths. Want to assemble it without untwisting or twisting. Then if we need to make some changes once all is assembled, maybe put a half a twist or a twist and string to get your cam timing right or whatever, then we'll deal. But you don't want to sit here and you want to be very careful when you put them on to keep them oriented the same, the ends, as when they came out of the package, if that makes sense, okay? All right, so after comparing some photos, it looks like my cables are all routed correctly. Again, I don't do this all the time. I'm not a bow shop, so I take these reference photos and it really helps me out. Time to tackle the string. Another thing you should always do is you should always max out your limbs when you're doing this, so that when you set this thing up, you want everything to be in spec with your limbs maxed out. And then once things are in spec, then you can back your limbs down to whatever poundage you want. So again, you don't want to twist or untwist your string and cables if at all possible. Okay, that looks good. We're going to relieve the pressure on the press. Very slowly, making sure that the new strings all line up in their grooves, because especially new strings, it's easy to miss a groove. And it all looks, boom. Everything's in the grooves. There we go. We're going to check the specs on it and see where we're at. And we are at 32.5. So we're actually 1/4 inch long. Really close. That's within the 16th or so that they show as spec. And let's look at the brace height. Brace height is right at 7 3/4. So that looks really good. Okay, so I know on these Elite bows that they like the arrow typically centered on the burger holes. And I've got my bowstring plumb, and so I'm going to level my arrow. I'm going to start with it level, and I can make minor adjustments after that with my rest. So some forceps here clipped on, and then I can tie a bottom knock point, and then I can tie a top knock point, and we should be good. Razor blade, always be careful around your brand new set of strings with a razor blade. Smash it. And I'm going to take my D-loop set pliers here, and we are going to tighten down this D-loop. And you do not have to have these. You can use needle nose pliers if you want to. They work equally as well. Boom, there we go. We got ourselves a pretty looking D-loop. All right, so rest is on, D-loop's on. We're just gonna shoot 4 or 5 shots, just kind of settle the string in a little bit, and then we're going to check the specs of the bow. So just shoot it a handful of times, nothing fancy. And I'll tell you what, everybody, I get it, is a yank to get a brand new bow. They're nice. I love my new bows. I'll tell you what, sometimes these old bows, they're just an absolute dream to shoot. Every time I shoot this bow, I forget how smooth the draw is, how solid the anchor is, and how sweet the release of this whole bow is, man. Again, a few more shots and we're gonna check the spec. 32 and 5/16. So we are within the specs on that. We are 7 3/4 right on, right there. So next thing to do is to check my cam timing. As you can see, I got my press. It actually doubles as a drawboard. This chain and hook system. One of the things I'll advise, this is hooked on the D-loop. I take a piece of paracord and make a small loop and go around the string and onto the hook as well. Many years ago, I've always been doing this, but I actually had a D-loop give out that was freshly tied. I tied it improperly, didn't get a good mushroom on the end, and it popped. And I would hate to dry fire a bow in here. So that little loop right there can save you. So let's go ahead and get this thing cranked. All right, so what we're looking for is we're trying to get the stops to hit the limbs at the same time. You can see I've got a slight gap there. I always stop slightly before and check just to see if my gaps are similar, which they actually are. Once my gaps are similar, I go ahead and finish cranking it out. And I just want to get them to where they're just touching the same time, and it looks like they are. I'm gonna back it off slightly. It's barely touching, barely touching. That to me says that my timing is spot on. We're gonna check the draw length as well. All right, so we got to measure from the throat of the grip to the string where it knocks, where the knock fits. I have a mark on here, which is basically where the throat is. I marked it a long time ago. I'm going to come back here to that knock point, double check, and I am 27 and 5/16. So if I add 1 3/4 to that, that puts me 29 and 1/16 of an inch draw. I will take that. So going to check the draw weight here in a minute, and we'll just go from there. This is just a cheap luggage scale. You can get these on Amazon pretty cheap. I always put an air on just in case. I never trust my D-loops until I get, I don't know, a bunch of shots on them. So $59. 59.2. 59.3. So we're in that 59 range, which is a 60-pound bow. For me, that's good enough. So I'm just gonna shoot this a bunch, and then I'm probably gonna put 20, 30 shots through it, and then we will start worrying about tuning out the rest and paper tuning, and then shooting some arrows. So I'll put a sight on it at some point as well. So for now, just need to shoot it. All right, so I put a bunch of shots through it, and I've already shot once through paper, and surprisingly, I got a bullet hole right out of the gate without touching anything on the rest or anything. I do not bear shaft tune this bow, my turkey hunting bow, because here's the reason. I'm shooting like 52 pounds. On the bullheads, we shoot a 300 spine arrow. It's like way over spined. So you can get some funky tears sometimes on a bear shaft when you're way over spined. So I typically get an inch or so right tear. I found it's what I found. So I just worry about the fletched arrow. I'm gonna shoot it through paper. Then tomorrow in the daylight, I'll go back and I'll put a sight on it and I'll get it sighted in and start tuning it with broadheads and bullheads and all that stuff, micro tune it. So let's shoot one through paper here real quick. Let's go right down here. That's a bullet hole. Take you up here and show it to you. And you're gonna see there's a lot of tear holes in here, and that's what I was shooting the other day with the original setup. And so with the new string, that is the hole that I just shot right there. So, and that, all right, before I call it quits for the evening, I do need to put a peep in it. I know from my previous string, from the center knock up to the center line of the peep, 5 3/4. On my Ethos, it's also 5 3/4. So I'm going to do the same thing on this string here, and I'm getting older and going blind. So I need to get my glasses out here. I'm gonna make a small mark at 5 3/4. There, Sharpie. And remember, I saved my peep from my last string. So press the bow. And again, string manufacturers do this. They put this floss in here, this thread. So you're in between the two strands. You don't want to split a strand, so you want to be careful. Okay. These hotshot peeps, these are pretty cool, these AccuPeeps. They're actually a tapered peep. So the side you look through is smaller than the front side. It's like taking a red Solo cup, cutting the bottom off it and looking through it. What it does is the larger opening gathers more light and you don't see concentric rings. If you just use a peep that's the same diameter both sides, you can actually see the far ring, the exit side, over the entrance side. So there's that. Okay, so we just have to make sure that we put it in the right direction, and I have done this many times backwards. So let's get the lean, there we go, that's how I need it. And I want it right there is 5 3/4. I can take the little string out, which has tied itself into a knot because I was shooting. My little razor blade go, there it is. Again, when on strings, careful with the razor blades. All right, that's right about there. Now, if this, after I shoot this, I'm gonna tie this in here, and after I shoot this, if it's not lining up perfectly straight, I must line up the D-loop with it. I'm gonna put it in the press. I'm gonna go a half a turn, just sit there on the string, a half a turn, maybe one way, maybe out a half turn until I get them to line up. I'm not gonna screw with the specs at all on the bow by those little half turns. So. You can see what it looks like. You can see how it's nicely tied. All right, tomorrow we just need to shoot this thing and get it sighted in. That's the plan. All right, so here we are the next day. I came out here, I've spent probably, I don't know, half an hour, not even 45 minutes, walk back tuning the bow. Again, I just want to remind you, this is my turkey hunting bow. I shoot Magnus bullheads with it. So I'm shooting, this is 60-pound bow. I did end up jacking the poundage back up to about 58 pounds. I found I was getting a little better tune for some reason right now with it like that. So I'm shooting 300 spine arrows with a 125 grain field tip up front. This is way too much spine for this bow right here. They should be shooting a 350 spine. In fact, if I back the poundage back down, I could probably get away with a 400 spine. So I don't really focus on the paper tuning and all that, but I got it flying great. So when it comes to walkback tuning, paper tuning, that's a whole different subject. You know, you need to make sure you're shooting the properly spined arrow for your setup or what you're trying to do. In my case, turkey hunting with the big obnoxious bullheads. There's a whole reason for that. You can go to the Magnus Broadheads YouTube channel. Check out that. I explain all those reasons. Okay, all that being said, I did a bunch of walkback tuning on this. I'm standing out here 40 yards from my target. I'm gonna shoot a 5-arrow group. Now I don't have the right sight tape on here. I gotta change out the sight tape, but I was looking for, you know, left, right, and I got everything lined up with my 20 and 30 yard distances and now 40, and throwing some pretty good groups here. So I'm going to rattle off a 5-arrow group and show you what the results are. So let me get the camera all turned around and we'll get it set up. All right, so you can see my target down there. 40 yards. I'm just gonna set my sight at where I know it'll be roughly the right elevation, even though I don't have the proper sight tape on it. So I'm gonna aim for the center top dot. It's a small dot. And I'm gonna rattle off 5 shots here. Sorry, the backlighting, the sun's that direction. I got too much going on today. So this, you're gonna deal with it. I'm not altering things for the sun position. So anyways, all right, here we go. Center top dot. I've got a camera up there for impacts. God, I love how smooth this bow draws. That looked right in there. Now, this thing is a sweet shooting bow. This is a 2009 Elite Z28, guys. 2009. Is it as quiet as my 2024 Ethos? No. Is it quite as shock-free at the hand at the shot? No. But it is one sweet, sweet shooting bow. It looked pretty right there with it. And I haven't really shot in several months. Last time I killed a deer was October. Oh, that was right in there. Tips are loose. A little bit of wind picking up here from my left to right. And I think that's my last arrow. Yep, must be number 5. Man, this thing draws like a dream. Oh. There we go. Man, almost squeezed one off a little target panic there. I didn't pull through. Anyways, let's go up there and let's check them out. Well, there you go. I mean, that's the group at 40 yards. That one's dead money. Couple right here to the left, couple right here to the right. As you can see, I got them on this camera down here, the little shot camera. That was 41 yards, and I just changed out the string and everything on this bow yesterday, string and cables. So there you go, man. So at the end of the day, look, I'm gonna tell you what you already know. You do not need to go buy a flagship bow. I'm zooming this out. This is ridiculous. There we go. You do not need to go buy a brand new 1200
$1,500, $2,000 brand new flagship bow to be accurate, to have fun shooting archery, to have fun and be effective hunting. Again, 2009 Elite Z28 with a fresh new pair of strings on it. A little update in equipment. We got the Vapor Trail V7X rest. We got an HHA. This is an old Kingpin sight, actually just single pin. No frills, a Stokerized stabilizer. This is about as simple as you can get in a bow setup these days. So yeah, this is pretty sweet. This is going to, again, I'm bringing this out of retirement. This thing's going turkey hunting with me. Again, I'm hoping it brings back a lot of the good luck that I've had many, many years past. I want to say a huge shout out and thank you to Nick Dawa of Unbound Bowstrings. You guys check him out. Again, I'll leave links down below to his website and his Facebook page. I offered multiple times to pay for this set of threads for this bow. He said no. He sent them to me. I'd never used his strings and cables before, but I mean, I can't complain at all. I mean, this was absolutely perfect. It was easy to tune, easy to set up. Now all I gotta do is throw some bullheads on this bow, get this thing all dialed in. So that's it. I guess that's pretty much all I've got to say. This video went way longer than I ever intended it to, as usual, and I rambled way too much, as usual. So, all right, there you go, everybody. Yeah, just don't stress, man. Go get yourself a bow, get it tuned up, get out there and hunt, enjoy archery, enjoy hunting, you know, get outside and just have fun. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. God bless. Stay safe out there. Turkey seasons will be here real soon. And it's a new day in the outdoors.